Imagine being told to leave everything you've ever known, your home, your family, your wealth, and follow a voice you've never seen. That's exactly what happened to Abraham. One night, as he gazed at the stars above Ur, God spoke directly to him. Leave your country, your people, and your father's household. Go to a land I will show you. Abraham's heart raced. Could he really abandon everything? Most would hesitate, but Abraham did the unimaginable. He obeyed. He didn't question, negotiate, or hesitate. He packed his life into tents and left, trusting a promise no one else could see. And what happened next would shock heaven itself. Abraham left behind a life of comfort most men could only dream of. His home was thriving, his wealth enormous. Yet he stepped into the unknown. People whispered, "Is he mad? Why abandon everything?" But Abraham's faith was rare. He believed that God's word was greater than all human logic. Every step into the desert was a test. Hunger, heat, and danger surrounded them. His nephew Lot feared the journey. Yet Abraham pressed forward. Why? Because obeying God sometimes means walking alone into uncertainty. Soon, tension arose between Abraham and Lot. Their herds grew so large that the land could not support them both. Servants quarreled. Abraham faced a choice: fight for the best land or surrender. In a move that stunned everyone around him, Abraham gave Lot first choice. "You choose where to settle," he said. "I will go wherever God leads me." Most would cling to wealth. Abraham gave it away. This act of humility would not go unnoticed by heaven. Years passed, and Abraham still had no children. One night, God appeared again and said, "Look at the stars. Count them if you can. That is how many descendants you will have." Abraham's jaw dropped. How could he, an old man with no heir, father a nation? Yet he believed. This was more than hope, it was faith that defied human logic. And it set in motion a legacy that would shape history. Even faith does not make life easy. A severe famine struck Canaan. Abraham faced starvation. Yet instead of despairing, he trusted God's guidance and moved to Egypt. But even here, fear crept in. He told Sarah to claim she was his sister, risking everything to survive. Abraham's faith was real, but human fear tested him at every turn. This is a reminder. God works through flawed people willing to obey. God promised Abraham a son, Isaac, but years went by. Abraham and Sarah were old. Every day was a test of patience and trust. What would you do if God promised something impossible, yet years passed in silence? Abraham held on, and when Isaac was finally born, the impossible became reality. Heaven celebrated what human eyes could barely imagine. Then came the moment that would shake even heaven. God said, "Take Isaac, your only son, and offer him as a sacrifice." Stop for a moment. Imagine being told to kill the one child you've been promised all your life. Most would scream, resist, or run. Not Abraham. He prepared an altar. He gathered wood. He even took the knife. Every step up the mountain was heavier than the last. Yet Abraham moved forward. Why? Because his faith in God's promise was stronger than his fear. Just as Abraham raised the knife, an angel shouted, "Do not harm the boy." A ram appeared, caught in a thicket. Abraham's obedience had passed the ultimate test. Imagine the shock. He was ready to do the unthinkable, and God provided a way. Heaven watched in awe, not just at Abraham's faith, but at his courage to trust when everything seemed impossible. Abraham's story didn't end there. His faith turned into a legacy. Nations would trace their roots to him. Kings would rise from his line. Even today, Abraham is remembered as the father of faith. Why? Because he dared to obey God in ways that seemed illogical, terrifying, and impossible. Every moment of fear, doubt, or uncertainty became a stepping stone to destiny. Here's the shocking truth. God still calls people to leave their comfort zones, to trust, even when the future is unclear. Abraham's story is more than history, it's a challenge. Will we obey when the cost is high? Will we trust God when it seems crazy? Abraham left everything and followed a voice only he could hear. What happened next shocked heaven, and it can shock your life too. So what would you do if God told you to leave everything behind? Would you obey like Abraham or hesitate like the world? His story is proof. Faith isn't safe, comfortable, or easy, but it changes everything.